What I'd like to have you write about today and for the next 3 days is to write about the most traumatic, upsetting experience of your entire life.
Writing about your problems can help. When people are asked to write about an emotional upheaval in their life for 15 minutes a day for 4 consecutive days, a number of changes are seen. Over 200 research studies report that emotional writing can improve people's physical and mental health, help them sleep better, and even result in their getting better grades in school. The first expressive writing study was published in 1986 by James Pennebaker and his student Sandra Bell. In their study, 46 college students were randomly assigned to write about either a traumatic experience or a superficial topic. The students initially signed up for a psychology experiment entitled Writing in the College Experience, with no idea what the study entailed. After completing some questionnaires and a release form allowing the experimenters to track their physician visits, they met the experimenter. Professor Pennebaker explains.
So what I'd like to have you write about for the next 4 days is I'd like to have you write about the most upsetting, traumatic experience of your entire life. In your writing, I want you to really let go and explore your very deepest emotions and thoughts. As you write, you might tie this experience to other parts of your life. For example, how might it be related to your childhood, your relationship with your parents, your relationship with other people now? What will be involved is that you'll be asked to write on 4 different occasions about a particular topic. You'll be coming back to this lab today and over the next 3 days after this. And after we talk, you'll be escorted down to a room where you will be by yourself. And in that room, your job is to write. Now different people will be asked to write about different topics, and some might be very personal, some might not be. But the idea is that once you begin writing, I want you to write continuously. Don't worry about spelling or grammar or punctuation. I just want you to write.
In their writing, students described a wide range of deeply unsettling experiences. At least half of the essays contained events that anyone would agree was traumatic. In the first study, and in most since then, people describe every upheaval imaginable, from torture and rape to public humiliation, witnessing family suicides and accidental deaths, and struggles with drugs and other addictions. The stories are often gripping and powerfully written. Particularly striking is how many of the stories have never or have rarely ever been told to anyone before. Although the stories themselves are interesting, the real power of the expressive writing method is that it has an impressive effect on the participants themselves. Since the first writing studies, researchers around the world have duplicated and extended the original expressive writing findings. Why does writing have such big effects on participants? The answer is still being studied, but there are several possibilities. When people translate their emotional experiences into words, they are changing the way it is organized in the brain. Usually, if people haven't talked about the emotional experience much, they have never tied the event to other parts of their lives. They often don't see how it is related to other changes that might have occurred to them. If you find yourself thinking or worrying about something too much and feel you can't honestly talk to others about it, consider writing. It's easy to do. Find a place where you won't be bothered and promise yourself that you will write for a minimum of 15 minutes a day for 4 consecutive days. Once you are ready, simply sit down and begin writing. Once you begin, keep writing the entire 15 minutes. Your goal is to try to understand why you are thinking so much about the emotional upheaval that is bothering you.
The results of that first experiment were like nothing I'd ever seen before. What we found was that when people wrote about these traumatic experiences, it changed them. I'd say maybe a quarter of the people actually cried while they were writing. It upset them, but they kept coming back. Hardly anybody stopped the experiment. All of this was profound in and of itself, but what was most interesting was just the degree to which writing about upsetting experiences made a difference in people's physical health. They went to the doctor less. We did a subsequent experiment, and we drew blood from students before they participated, again at the last day of writing, and then 6 weeks later, writing about traumatic experience brought about changes in immune function. And then other labs started to get involved. Study after study showed that writing about traumatic experience had this significant effect on their mental health, their physical health, and a variety of behaviors.
To learn more about expressive writing, go to Professor Pennebaker's website and click on the Writing and Health link. All of us are occasionally haunted by a terrible experience that we have trouble coping with. If this happens to you or to a friend, consider writing about it. It could be helpful and allow you to get on with your life.